Yes, what is up everyone? And I got two things for you. One, my sincere apologies for taking so long to make this reaction video. I was in Germany to host the FIFA 19 playoffs with EA for 2 weeks, and then I went to Minneapolis with Target to jump out of a helicopter from 10,000 feet. And the video for that is coming out very soon, and you're not gonna wanna miss it because it's pretty epic. And then I came home to spend time with my family because I haven't seen them in 3 weeks, and who I won't see for another 2 weeks because they're traveling, and then I'm traveling, and I got some very, very, very big news to share with you guys, and I can't wait to do that, and it's gonna be wild, but I'm gonna miss my family, and it makes me kind of sad. But that's a conversation for another time. 2, I see your comments. Oh, why is Jimmy not making a reaction video to his Copa America preview? Porque Jimmy no está haciendo un video de reacción para su vista previa de la Copa América? Porque Jimmy não está fazendo um vídeo de reação. How's my Portuguese? On point? Vamos, porra! And anyway, yeah. You think I didn't make this video sooner because I didn't get my predictions exactly right like I did in the Gold Cup, but that would be wrong. I've just been busy, suckers, just like I said in number 1. Fine, maybe it's just a little bit because I didn't get them all exactly right, and I like being right, as you know, so get off my back. But VAR screwed me. If you saw this tournament at all, they screwed me and my pick to win it all, Argentina. But I'll get to that in a second because let's see what I said first. Here I am, ready to break down the world's oldest international competition, the Copa America, which I once played in, by the way. And you know what? Actually, let's roll the clip where Messi has to foul me because no one can get around Conradinho.
Keep the ball in play.
I'm sorry, I always gotta make time for rolling my clips, especially when it makes Messi mad. Anyway, starting with Brazil. Well, the last time they hosted a major international tournament, they made it to the semifinals, which isn't too shabby. But then, when you take into consideration that they've won more World Cups than anyone else, I just feel like they're supposed to win. The expectations are higher, especially in front of their fellow countrymen. Not losing that semifinal to Germany 7-1, which is absolutely embarrassing. But leaving that aside, this is a really long way of me saying that they are the favorites to win this again. They have to be. And the favorites finally won, which was their first Copa America trophy since 2007, when I played in the tournament. That's how long ago it was. And they did it on both sides of the ball, scoring 13 and conceding just 1 in 6 total games. And they did it without Neymar, which just speaks to the depth and quality that Brazil has at every single position, which is something that I think every other country in South America lacks, and why Brazil should continue to dominate for years to come. However, when speaking about this quality overall and how it compares to the rest of the world, Brazil, and all of South America for that matter, have not won a World Cup since 2002, which is a record drought for the continent. And to take it one step further, not one South American club has won the Club World Cup since 2007, which I think speaks to the appeal of Europe because a lot of talented South Americans seem to be going over to Europe at a younger and younger age. But then you would think that would help their national teams, but for whatever reason, it hasn't translated. Anyway, this topic feels like a big conversation for another time, and most likely its own specific video. So I'll just say that my 2 biggest takeaways for Brazil from this tournament, minus VAR being very, very kind to them, and my issue with CONMEBOL, who are the governing body for all of South American football. Well, they priced out a lot of people with ridiculous ticket prices, which meant that the stadiums were half full, which looked terrible on television, which is a shame because this game is for the people, not just the rich people. Anyway, my 2 points is that Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world, and nobody argue with me on that. It's proven. He's done it, and I fully expect Gabriel Jesus to have his best season as a pro with Manchester City this upcoming season because I thought his movement and desire to make things happen were consistently fantastic, and I'm a big fan of that. Also, I was super impressed with the void that was left by Neymar and him filling it. So now I feel like he's moving into more of a leadership role, and again, I have a lot of respect for that. Anyway, let's see what else I said. And then as for Bolivia, well, they haven't won the Copa America since 1963, and their best finish since then, out of a 12-team tournament, is the quarterfinals, meaning they got out of the group and then they lost in the first knockout round game, which they've only done twice in the last 56 years, and that was in 1995 and 2015. So how else do you say this? They got no chance. Played 3 games, lost 3 games. Nailed it. Next. And now moving on to Venezuela. All I'm gonna say is that my United States of America made them look like world beaters in their friendly last week when Venezuela, led by Newcastle United hero Solomon Rondon, scored 3 goals. Well, he didn't score all 3, but he had a few. In the first 30 minutes to win 3-0 at the end of all 90 minutes. And if anyone can do that to my USA, then they're probably gonna go on to win the tournament. I ended up picking them to get second in the group, and then the runner-up of Group A, and I'm gonna say it's Venezuela here. And then losing to Argentina in the quarterfinals, which is what happened, so Illuminati confirmed. And then finally, let's talk a little Peru. Peru has only won 3 out of their last 10 games since winning their first game at a World Cup in 40 years last summer, which included losing to El Salvador back in March, which is unacceptable on so many levels, especially given their talent. But they do have a tendency of playing well in Copa Americas. Exactly, I knew they were gonna get to the final. The winner of Group C, which for me is gonna be Uruguay, taking on the best third place team from A or B, and I think that's gonna be Peru. And then Peru's gonna bow out because Uruguay, right? I mean, they're better. Okay, hold up. How could anyone know that Peru was going to get to the final when prior to their 3-0 win over Chi-Chi-Chi-Le-Le-Le in the semifinals, they only won 1 game the whole tournament over a bad Bolivia team. Then they got their culos handed to them by Brazil in the group stages 5-0, and then they failed to get a shot on goal against Uruguay in the quarterfinals before beating them in penalties. It's impossible to know that, and I 100% guarantee, stamp that mierda, that even the top pundits in South America didn't predict Peru getting to the final. But a shout out to the Peruvians for showing the heart and mental fortitude that you need to win games. Now, I know a ton of teams and players that have the talent, but not that something special inside that can make them great, you know? Anyway, who's next? Can Messi finally win a major tournament with his country? Can he finally get to the top of the mountain? All right, here we go. It's "Don't cry for me, Argentina." And the one answer to all of these questions is, I don't know, because I feel like there are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Argentina with Messi in the team, almost winning something of consequence, but never quite getting there. But maybe, just maybe, things will be different this tournament. They won't, and they didn't. And this is even though I picked them to win it all. And Argentina finally wins so Messi can finally quiet the haters. Which goes to show you that you shouldn't let your emotions make predictions for you. You should always go with the cold-blooded sensibilities of your brain. And my brain should have known that CONMEBOL and their referees, including VAR, wanted Brazil to win the tournament that they were hosting. Yes, I'm now a conspiracy theorist. Because, I mean, it made for a great story when Chi-Chi-Chi-Le-Le-Le hosted and won the tournament back in 2015 for the first time in their history, which I was there for, by the way. And what a life experience that was. And actually, do we have a clip of me being there? Is that... If yes, roll that bad boy.
This is incredible. It's awesome.
Anyway, I'm just bitching about not getting my prediction right because even though that I thought that Argentina got better as the tournament went along, I don't think they necessarily deserve to beat Brazil in the semis. Now, sure, Messi hit the post and they had some shouts for possible penalties, but their defense is just not consistently good enough to win a significant trophy. End of the conversation, they're just not good enough. But my biggest fear, though, for Argentina is that their future doesn't look all that promising because I don't really feel like we're having conversations about their next generation. Like, who's gonna step up? I really don't know who's gonna do that for Argentina. But maybe Messi needs to retire so that will allow the other players to emerge from his very large shadow. Anyway, let's talk some Colombia, who are similar to Brazil in some ways, i.e. they are very talented and we can make an argument as to why they could win the whole thing. Okay, let's stop it right here because I was right. Colombia had the best campaign of any team in the group stages and actually exited the tournament without conceding a goal in any of their 4 matches. That's right, they gave up 0 goals and still went home after losing to Chi-Chi-Chi-Le-Le-Le in penalties in the quarterfinals, which feels really unfair. But it proves how well they played and how hopeful things look for the Copa America next summer, which Colombia are hosting. So, is it okay for me to pick Colombia to win that tournament now because that seems to be the trend with this tournament these days? Anyway, who else was in this group? Oh yes, Paraguay. So they opted to go with a much younger squad this time around, and I think it's going to show. Yes, I nailed that, as they got 3rd in their group. And then, because they had nothing to lose, they played valiantly against Brazil in the quarterfinals before losing in penalties. So they should feel pretty proud about that. Or I'm proud of them if they're not. Okay, that's okay. And who else is in this group? Oh yes, Qatar. As much as I appreciate Qatar's run in the 2019 Asian Cup, where they only gave up 1 goal through 7 games and beat Japan in the final, I don't think they know what's about to hit them now that they're coming over to South America. But maybe I'll be wrong. It happens from time to time. Yes, sadly it does happen from time to time, even though I rarely admit it. But I was right about Qatar. They got last in their group, so thank you for coming out, Qataris. Hope you had a safe flight home. And then finally in Group C, it's Uruguay, Ecuador, Japan, and le. And we're gonna work backwards here and start with the reigning back-to-back Copa America champions, Chile, because I don't think they have it anymore. And in some ways, I think the whole team is currently mirroring their star player Alexis Sanchez's career. You know, where you can see that the quality is there because you've seen it in previous games, and at times you see the flashes of brilliance now, but it's inconsistent and it seems to lack energy and hope and everything else that it was built on, which I feel like is a sign that he and his country are past it. Okay, holy sh**. This was a pretty harsh assessment, especially because they ended up getting to the semifinals with some good performances along the way, like beating Japan 4-0 to start the tournament, and being the better team overall in their penalty shootout win over Colombia in the quarterfinals. But getting hammered 3-0 by Peru in the semifinals, that's just unacceptable, as was Gary Medel's antics in the 3rd place game that got him and Messi red carded. Of course, Gary probably thought he did the right thing by getting Argentina's best player ejected from the game because he probably thought it would give Chile a better chance to win, which I guess could be considered smart in some ways, but they ended up losing, so now it looks kind of dumb. Anyway, as for the team overall, the end of an era has come, so we'll see which young players step up to replace Alexis Sanchez and Arturo Vidal, among others. And then with Japan, dudes, you were the favorites of the Asian Cup and you lost to Qatar. You know what? Actually, let me rephrase. You got played off the field by Qatar, so have some goddamn respect for yourselves. And now, in your second ever appearance in the Copa America, the first time was in 1999, where you guys got knocked out in the group stages, you have a chance to totally redeem yourself. And I wouldn't say that you completely redeemed yourself since you got knocked out in the group stages again, but with your very young squad, you rebounded well from losing your first game 4-0 to drawing with Uruguay 2-2 and Ecuador 1-1, so there were some positives. But you had the lead twice against Uruguay and you blew it, and you were up 1-0 on Ecuador and you blew the lead there too, so you definitely have some stuff to work on. And then there's Ecuador, who for me have announced themselves in a big way that something is changing in that country for the good at the development level after their U20 surprisingly won the South American Championship and then made a deep run to the semifinals in the U20 World Cup. But as much as I love and respect and admire their manager Hernan Dario Gomez, I think the squad that he has at this tournament is a little too old to do anything of consequence. But the future is bright. Hey, look at me with the top analysis. I nailed this. They got last in the group with only 1 point. They lost to Uruguay and Chile. They got 2 red cards, and their frustration level was very apparent. But like I said, the up-and-coming talent for the Ecuadorians is real, and I think they're going to be a force in the very near future. And then finally, it's Uruguay, who sadly are nearing the end of an incredible era of talent that produced, among others, Luis Suarez, Edinson Cavani, and Diego Godin. And even though another era of talent is coming up behind them, like Lucas Torreira and Federico Valverde, I'm not sure they're ever going to match the quality of Suarez, Cavani, and Godin again, which means it's now or never for this group of players. Sure, like Chile, these older guys might be able to do one more Copa America next summer, but at what point do these countries hand over control and playing time to their younger players and let them put their stamp on things? I'm not so sure, and that's why I'm not in charge. Also, and this is what hurts the most from a prediction perspective, since I had them going to the final, despite a few things here and there, like Cavani and Godin missing sitters against Peru in the quarterfinals, and they were absolute sitters if you didn't see them. I thought Uruguay looked pretty good throughout this tournament, and most importantly, they had the team and the talent and desire to win it all, but as we learn time and time again, this sport can be cruel and it can be very unfair, which, as sad as this is to say out loud, it makes it a great metaphor for life. Anyway, without going too far down this philosophical rabbit hole, I'm gonna end it here by saying congrats again to Brazil for winning the trophy. Be on the lookout for my league previews to drop as the new European season begins, which is happening I think in a couple weeks. And because I love you and your support of me and this channel, and courtesy of World Soccer Shop, so make sure you get all of your gear from them. Their website is going to be in the description below. I'm going to give this Messi jersey away to one of my subscribers, so make sure you subscribe and leave a comment so that you're entered to win. And good luck, and later.